here yet, and following him is Samueljwilshire, is due at 2 o'clock. Sam, you're happy to keep it 2 o'clock and not do anything sooner? We'll either adjourn the meeting or you can do your submission now if you'd like. Okay, cool, yeah. Councillor Samuel's presenting his own submission and West Melton Residents Association submission, yeah?
A couple of questions. Am I going to have a break between the five?
Yep.
Can I just have Ed?
Yep.
No.
Sure.
I don't know where West Melton Residents Association or right person is start.
That's fine, you can run them together.
Cool, awesome.
Do you have PowerPoint, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
it is on here. I'll just
It's
sign
very
in.
simple. Do I get a button or do I just push enter or?
I will help set it up for you.
Okay,
And
thank you.
then,
Sorry, I'm annoying and I've got a,
no,
this is
it's
my
all-
picture.
So it's just on here, so you can use those arrows or use arrows here.
Oh, can I
go
touch
to the
screen
next
it?
step.
Ooh, that's
Or you can touch the
flash.
screen.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's flash.
or you can use the mouse here.
Cool.
Or here, whatever.
Oh, you're giving me too many options now. It's all too confusing. Okay, thank you.
Samuel, that microphone in front of you is on, so whenever you like, you can start your submission. And I want to say thank you for the written submission you've already given us, and councillors have had a chance to read and understand that, and today's a chance for you to unpack any of that or bring anything new to our attention.
Cool. I was wondering if I had to have a specifically stuck to that guideline, but I haven't, so anyway. Kia ora and good afternoon, Honourable Mayor Sam Broughton and respected council members and the public. Thank you for the opportunity to present this submission. Oh, it's up there. Sorry. I'd like to start with te tangata, te tangata, te tangata. The people, the people, the people. I'm saying this first as it should be the first and foremost thing that comes to mind when we discuss water. Unfortunately, it didn't even appear in our risk analysis on page 13 and page 15. People aren't mentioned once. Neither is health, neither is illness, neither is death. If we're doing a risk analysis, I would have thought that would be number one. As a community, without water, it's not valuable. Without people, water is not valuable. We're made up of 74% of the stuff. So it's pretty important. Slide 2. That one doesn't work. There we go. Boy, that's not easy to read. Slide 2. I've spent the last 14 months trying to obtain information on our borrowing, specifically in regards to the local government funding authority taken by this council. I'm still unanswered on many of these questions, but the two that I have had answered have concerned me greatly. On the Excel spreadsheet, take my word for it, I've been provided by your finance department. It shows 44 loans taken out, of which 3 of them are fixed. Now, keep in mind that that is dated from I think December last year. That's 93.18% of loans taken from LGFA that are on a floating interest rate. Unfortunately, the consultation drop-in session at Darfield Library, comments made by the CFO directly to me and my table contradicted this claim. I asked if most of the loans obtained were fixed or floating. The answer was they're mostly fixed. I sought clarification from this, given that it's a direct contradiction to what I was provided by the CFO in that OIA. To which it was reinstated that most of the LGF funding is fixed. I then, upon leaving this meeting, wanted to seek further clarification, so I CC'd councillors and the Mayor Sam to an email that I sent to Sharon. Sharon, after a little back and forth, we came to the conclusion that 80% of LGFA funding is currently at a floating interest rate. Please bear with me. I'm not used to using 2. As you can see, there has been an increase in borrowing last year. I assume this is to do with maturity dates of previous loans. Slide 4. So you can see we borrowed $150 million in 2024. Note the maturity dates of these loans. So again, the last one's 2024 from memory. Here's the confirmation email that state, again, you'll have to take my word for it. Boy, that's messed that up. It's a lot clearer here. Email provided to show the real transparency of these conversations, but these should also be in your emails of any councillor sitting here. So if you're wanting to review these, you can actually just look up my name. As you see before you, this is one of the rating examples provided to... next slide. As you can see here, this is one of the rating examples provided to citizens in the drop-in sessions and the resource document. A lot of the information provided on this document I have significant concerns with. Rating examples, I was told, had inflation included into calculations, yet on one example it shows next to no inflation for 7 years. Well, not significant enough to warrant an allowance made, in my opinion. Bottom of the page, it claims there was a 10% anticipated compliance cost increase on these versions that extended, not shown here. To clarify, that's the other extrapolated one that's slightly stretched out longer. It actually works out by my calculations to be a lot more like 12% on average. So, yeah. How can we calculate estimated costs of the WSCCO or even an in-house model for years to come if we can't even be assured of the interest rate we would be paying to maintain these loans? So 2033 to 2034, I'd say that these are blue sky's best case scenario predictions at best. It's claimed that in the 2033 to 2034, the price will drop, not increase. Anyone who's been through the LTP knows that this is best intentioned maybe, but hasn't been realised, and I personally believe this is totally incorrect. When have goods you buy day to day reduced in their inflation of cost? Some may still be confused by the relevance of this, and so I need to make these points. I would request kindly that you read the emails again or listen back to this. The relevance, to put it simply, is if LGFA funding is collateral is CCO's rates revenue or take, and we borrow against these assets specifically for water once assets are transferred to the WSCCO. Who really owns our water assets? If we were to default on these loan agreements due to financial hardship, war, economic downturn, what would happen? Let's put it another way. You buy a house for $857 million. You retain a mortgage on this house on day one. Who owns more equity on that property? What happens if you default on the payments for said $857 million home? Now let's say that your interest rates for that mortgage are floating and you have a fixed income like many of our elderly residents and many of our young families. How would you calculate the cost to your family, to your household in year 2034? The simple answer is you can't. Sorry if I'm yelling, I'm passionate. Right, slide 7. Here you can see an estimated cost of replacement like-for-like of infrastructure. Let's focus specifically on water assets, only wastewater and water supply, because that's what we're talking about today. So wastewater replacement value of 2021, like-for-like replacement, was $311 million. Water supply replacement value as of 2021 was $184 million. This figure comes to $495 million. Somebody can check that. I'm only a builder. For those two assets alone. Yet resource documents on Your Water Done Well on page 7 claims the cost of maintaining these systems from year 2 to 10 of the long-term plan are estimated to be $857 million. So that's for maintenance. So effectively, if we were to use 2021 pricing, we could replace all the wastewater services, all the water supply services of 2021, and still have $362 million in the bank. For only 8 years of delivery. I would hazard a guess that this calculation is either wrong or we're not getting value for money in either model discussed today. I've raised concerns regarding the consultation process. We have been presented conflicting views. I attended 3 drop-in sessions just because I had curiosity if this was the case. And depending on which staff member or councillor I spoke to, it depends on the answer given. Information was presented as fact, but then quite simply debunked through further investigation. The process seemed to lack clarity on our second most valuable asset, the first being our people. The consultation period was too long, legislation hadn't been formalised yet, but decisions had been made regarding budget without an end deliverable even known. Odd. Finances have been estimated without clarity of how these were obtained, and questions regarding the WSCCO still have not been answered to my satisfaction. Many of my residents have claimed they received a 24-page document that lacked sufficient evidence to make an informed decision, and it didn't grant them the ability to perform their due diligence. Some of the most knowledgeable residents in our district, I reckon, live within a few metres of me, really. And they didn't have enough time to make a submission, and other people have just sent in a submission with both options selected saying, we don't even know. Other councils gave their constituents 4 weeks, not 3. They didn't receive answers. They requested in enough time to submit, and I concur with these findings also. One question I'd like to put to staff residing in the health hub across the road currently and standing councillors is, how has the $2 million earmarked for the establishment team of the WSCCO been spent in 4 months? And I'd kind of like receipts for that, not just a blurb. In conclusion, I, Samueljwilshire, in a personal capacity, have concerns that this process has been muddled from the beginning. Confusing and lacking detail, I pride myself on being well informed on the matter of water since the beginning of Three Waters rollout, and even then found this consultation to leave me in the dark, conflicting and difficult to obtain information. Even when pursuing all appropriate avenues of contact, I shudder to think how ill-informed the majority of our district's residents are on these matters, when I myself struggle to justify the expense and the extra depth of bureaucracy. At a very rough count of submissions, don't quote me on this, publicly available, over 350 were in opposition of the council's proposed plans. Over 40 were in support, and over 20 selected both options, with reasoning being given that they can't make an informed decision based on the information provided. After years of digging through water regulation, I find something rather interesting from the yes submissions. Many names were already familiar to me. Be it their involvement in policy around water, being consultants engaged to undertake water reviews, or also being the fact that they're from completely different councils. I do hope this is just residents of Selwyn submitting on their best knowledge, and sincerely hope that submissions aren't reciprocated to their districts on their Your Water Done Well plan. Consultation from our water CCO staff being sent to other districts could appear to be an erosion of democracy and a conflict of interest. Alternatively, perhaps these people were better informed regarding this consultation than I am, because I definitely didn't come to the same conclusion as they did. The submission count would, in my eyes, show a loss of faith from constituents, and this saddens me. We are not the experts we're not the experts that the council staff engage with. We're not their consultants based on water. But if the overwhelming majority of people are opposed to the council's preferred option, this should be a telling sign. Once the trust is eroded, it is significantly more difficult to regain after that. Stop the spend and start the mend. I, Samueljwilshire, on behalf of myself and the West Mountain Districts Association, thank you for the opportunity to present the submission and your time for listening to it. I'll be forwarding this to everybody. Thank you.
Kia ora, Samuel. Thank you. Appreciate you coming down to share both your submission and the West Melbourne submission. Are there any questions of that submission? No? Samuel, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Very good.
Lydia, sorry, I didn't see that. Sorry, Samuel, if you don't mind, Lydia does have a question.
Certainly, Lydia. How may I help? Lovely to see you again. Wasn't it good in Sheffield?
Yeah, it was. It
Yes.
was, yep. It was
Anyway.
good. When you're talking about finance, a few things sort of come to mind for me. And so do you think there are some alternative financing models council should consider?
Yeah, we need to cut the spend. We need to stop doing legacy projects and little pet projects. I'd rather have roads I can drive on. So during the rain for the community response team, they wanted me to do a survey, and really realistically, it's not in a subdivision around West Mountain, it's part of my territory. Roads that have been flooding for 30 years are still flooding. The most embarrassing thing is between this council chamber and the lead roading contractor is the most flooded section of roading in Selwyn. I couldn't cross over the railway tracks to fill up my car at BP because it was gumming up over the wheels. Like, is there a better option? Cut the spend, start the mend. We really do. We need to spend within our means. I mean, we're expecting our constituents to dig deeper, find more money, pay more rates. You've doubled the volumetric water rate by 108.33% in 2021, and you backdated it from before the date even was started. And apparently that's just the way it's always been done. It hasn't started from the date that it charges, it started from the financial year. I mean, if I overcharged my client, I'd be done for fraud. I'm not implying anybody's doing fraud.
Linda, do you have something else? Okay, thank you, Samuel.
Sam?
Cool.
Sam?
No, we're out of time, thank you.
Elizabeth?
Just quickly, Sam, when you were discussing with staff about the floating rates, did they give you any indication as to why they may have preferred floating rates for some of our loans?
It's in your email, the reply. So I think Sharon did give me a definition as to why. And I think it was in regards to that there are more competitive ways that they can lock in, but it doesn't appear we've locked anything in really. So that would be...
Thank you, Samuel. We'll cover that off in deliberations, Elizabeth, so that all that information's here for us. Samuel, thank you.
Thank you.
Douglas Marshall is our next presenter.